Hello, how y'all doing today? My name is Bernie Thompson, and today we're here to take a look at this 2004 BMW 545i. This vehicle has had a used engine installed, and apparently it's setting cam sensor error codes. The cam sensor has been replaced, it still sets the code, so now what we need to do is properly diagnose this vehicle. The first step to do that is to put a scan tool on and get some very basic data. So let's go ahead and get that scan tool connected. We have the scan tool up, so now let's go ahead and look at the data. Our fuel trims are good, bank-to-bank trims are good, we're still warming the car up. Our voltage for the charge is good. What I'm really interested in and why I brought the scan tool up is the two here. And also notice that I have 5 monitors that haven't been run, and obviously the 5 monitors that haven't been run, that's always just a matter of that they've been working on the car. This is what I'm really interested in. I have the cam position sensor circuit malfunction on B, and I have a cam position sensor A circuit high. Now, the shop has been trying to fix the cam sensors on this car, and apparently these are the codes that they get. So what I want to do, since this car has been worked on, I want to just go ahead and get a scope so I can actually see the data that those sensors are providing to the microprocessor. Always remember that the sensor has some type of a voltage change over time, and the microprocessor receives those changes of those edges and it puts a clock on them, and then it's comparing the sensor edge to the clock. So I'm not exactly sure what's wrong with it, but I know the quickest, most accurate way for me to get to what's wrong with this car is with a scope and to get into those cam sensors. So let's go ahead and get the computer out and get into the cam sensor wires and try to figure out what's wrong with this vehicle. Okay, so I got to the ECM. It's going to be my quickest, easiest way to get access to all the sensors. Channel 1 is on the crank sensor. Channel 2, 3, 4, and 5 are on all the cam sensors for both banks, and channel 6 is on the ignition number 1. So now is what I want to do is I want to go in and I want to look at the scope and try to figure out what's going on with the cam sensors or the crank sensor. Why is the code being generated? So let's go ahead and look at that data. Okay, so now that we've got the scope connected into the wiring, let's make sure that those connections are good. So the first thing I want to do is come over to meter, and I can see 1 through 6, those are the leads that I'm currently using. They're all connected. So what I want to do now is I want to just come over and I want to gather some data so I can try to figure out what's going on. The purple strike is the number 1 ignition strike, so I'm okay with that. So now let's go ahead and separate these out so we can try to see what's going on here. Okay, I already see the problem. Let me show you what I see. I can see that that one right there doesn't match these ones. Do you see how I got these double pulses? So let's zoom in on these so we can clearly see what we want to look at. We can see that this is 1 fire cycle from fire to fire. And what I want you to notice, do you see how you've got a narrow, narrow, wider, wide, narrow, narrow, wider, wide? I don't have that on the green one. And this green is connected to the number 1 exhaust cam. So this has something to do with the sensor, the trigger wheel. I think that's a trigger wheel right now, but let's just see. Before we can tell that, I'm going to need to move this across to make sure it's very consistent. It's not coming or going. Yeah, so that looks like a trigger problem. Now, if you notice, the red and the blue are going to line up. Let me bring that blue one up a little so I can show you. Let's bring the green one down. So do you see how these line up almost on top of each other? Well, the white and green should also do the same thing, and they're not. So you can see right here where these are pulling the same, and this did. But right here along this top, this should pull down here and let up, and pull down here and let up. That's not pulling down, and what it should be is very close to a mirror. And I'm not mirroring. Again, you can see the difference between these two sensors where they're matching each other, and these should have that same match, but they're not. So I have something wrong with the exhaust cam trigger wheel, I believe. But what I want to do right now is I want to take my channel 7 and 8 that I'm not using, and I want to go ahead and put them on the power and ground on this sensor so we can make sure that we have a good power and ground of the sensor. Because if you don't have a good current path, it can't work. Now it appears to be working pretty good and it's consistent, like something's just wrong with that trigger wheel is what it looks like, but I'm not sure of that yet. So let me go ahead and get into the power and ground at the sensor, and then let's look at the data. Okay, so I've connected channel 7 and channel 8 to the power and ground on the sensor that we have a problem with right here. So now let's go check that data. Now that we've got the connections made to the exhaust camshaft sensor for number 1, let's go ahead and make sure that we've got a connection. And so it looks like we've got a ground and a power system. So now is what I want to do is I want to come back over here and I want to just get that data. Now is what we want to do is I want to shut this off other than the data that we're looking at for that one sensor. So we want to go ahead and we want to come in here. And basically we can see that we have a battery power supply, and it doesn't look like we've got a drop. That's where drop would be where this would come down, and a ground drop would be where this rises. I mean, the powers and grounds are good on this. I'm pretty sure that this has a trigger wheel problem. So is what we're going to do is the shop is going to need to pull the valve cover off so we can try to figure out what's wrong with the trigger wheel on this vehicle. And once they've got the valve cover off, we'll come back down and we'll take a look at this so we can see what it is. The shop has gotten the authorization to repair this BMW. So what's going on is the valve cover wasn't fully seated. Since the valve cover holds the sensor and the sensor's in the valve cover, if the valve cover's distance is up too high, the distance between the sensor and the trigger wheel is not aligned correctly. Therefore, it wouldn't trip on the shorter pulses, it just misses them. Now, what's happening is these are two different holders for the valve cover, and we can see that this is the right one and this is one that is too big, and we see where they've tried to shim them. They had the wrong pieces on the valve cover so it wouldn't pull the valve cover down far enough, and what that does is it sets the distance between the sensor and the trigger wheel too high. Now what you guys got to remember is with magnetic fields, these are exponentially increased. In other words, as you start to put a magnet closer and closer to a ferrous material, as soon as it gets really close, it just pulls, and it has exponential increase in how much intensity it has. Well, when you're talking about 10 to 30 thousandths difference in height from a sensor to the target wheel, that can make the difference between it triggering and not triggering. Here's the waveform that we have now that they fixed this car, and we can see that we have the two small pulses, the medium and the large pulse. These pulses were missing, and now they're there. The only thing that was done to this vehicle was the valve cover was removed. The proper shimming, the pull down for this valve cover was installed, and it was put back together, and now this vehicle is fixed and ready to return to the customer. Is what I want you to take away from this is the proper procedure where this is an event-driven diagnostic plan. You run a test, you understand what that test you're running, what data is going to be provided, you take that data and you make your next test. We could clearly see that we had some problem between the trigger wheel and the sensor. Once the sensor was pulled and we looked at the trigger wheel with a bore scope and all the teeth were there, we pulled the valve cover, and that's when we could see that someone has these shims on here and it's just totally the wrong piece. And some of these are even stripped, they're not even all threaded. So if you do this type of a diagnostic plan to where it's event driven and you have good diagnostic equipment, you too will have good troubleshooting in your base.